Welcome to another episode of the Golden Moment podcast. My name's Mijo Biscan. Today I had a conversation with Johan Planefeldt. He is a filmmaker. He's a music video creator. He directed and produced the music video for one of my songs called That's So Pretty, which was a collaboration across the globe. So me here in Australia, in Melbourne, and Johan in Berlin. He's originally from Sweden, and we had a number of really great conversations leading up to that collaboration. It was an experiment for me to be very hands-off in making a music video, and that tended to work out really well when I wasn't involved. So I wanted to share this conversation with Johan. His work is really beautiful. He's a very talented filmmaker. And if you'd like to check out any of his work, you can go to holytropic.com. There'll be a link in the description below wherever you're listening to or watching this. And I'll also leave a link in there for the music video That's So Pretty that we did together, in case you want to check that out to know kind of what we're talking about in this episode. But otherwise, it was a really wonderful, free-range kind of conversation about visual art and filmmaking and Johan's journey through all of that. So hope you enjoy this episode with Johan Planefeldt. I'm here with Johan. Welcome to this podcast, or whatever this is. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So I really wanted to get you on here so that we could talk about filmmaking and visual art kind of stuff that you do. And I suppose maybe the story of even how we collaborated is kind of interesting, I think, across the oceans. So you're in Berlin, I'm in Melbourne. And so we made a music video together, and it was beautiful, and you did such an amazing job. So, but I'd love it if you maybe just told us a little bit about kind of what you do and how you perceive what you do, you know, what your main interests are in filmmaking. And
All right. Yeah. It's a very difficult question. Because the thing I think least about these days is filmmaking. That's very, very, very far away in my head. I mean, I've been making films for, I think, my first film I made 20 years ago. And since then, I've been making a lot of movies every day, and also working as a freelancer, earning my money like this since maybe 14 years or something like this. And but at the same time, also running my own projects, more artistic films and fiction projects. So there's been a lot of that, and somehow I come to a point where I'm not taking in any. I don't know. Every time I see a film, I'm thinking I've seen that. Okay, that's been done. There is, for me, that field of filmmaking is not very inspiring at the moment. So it's great for making money. I like it as a job where I can, do things for people. I find that kind of more satisfying than working on my own projects at the moment. But still, these own projects, they keep coming. And even if I'm trying to stop them from coming, they keep kind of popping up. And every time I make a film, I say, this is the last time, absolutely the last time I do it. And then there's kind of a year or two from post-production, and it's gone. And suddenly there's a fucking idea again who wants me to do something. I'm getting very passionate and inspired, and I do it. And that's a terrible period. And then I had to kind of suffer the cause of this idea. I don't know. So my relationship to film as an art form is kind of ambivalent.
Yeah,
I still haven't really got my head around what to do with that. I'm always trying to quit. And then parallel to that, working for people is very pleasurable, and I get to be creative and use my talents in a kind of productive way, and I also feel I'm contributing a little bit more to society doing it. So it has been shifting. In the beginning, I only want to make art and no work, and then it's kind of switched over in a way.
Yeah. That's really interesting. So I had a conversation recently about a songwriter with a songwriter who said a similar thing about making, writing his own songs. I think he said it was terrifying, or it's, I can't remember the word exactly, but that it's this very challenging thing to do, and it's quite painful actually to do it. And it sounds like it's slightly different to your relationship, where he's like, once it comes out, then he's obsessed with it and he loves it. But the actual process of confronting the project and making it happen or whatever, is that the same for you, or is it a very different experience?
I think there are different periods because filmmaking is containing so much work.
Yeah.
And very often when it's my own projects, I do most of it myself, meaning that I'm the writer, producer, director, cinematographer, editor, sometimes sound designer, and then I have to also be the person who tries to bring the film out.
Yeah.
So each section of that has its own pleasures and terrible moments. So normally in the beginning, when the idea is like just endlessly, like there's this openness of possibilities, and you have the vision, and you can kind of create in your mind whatever you like. This is normally a very exciting period, and you put in a lot of effort in to write it and come up with the ideas. Then the production phase is the terrible moment where every great idea you had slowly breaks down because you couldn't get that, and that was not available. You couldn't find the right actor, or you don't have the money for it, so then all this amazing world you build up is slowly crumbling, and that's a very painful process. And then the shooting is normally very nice, unless you're the producer and the director at the same time. Then it's kind of terrible. But
yeah.
But being out in the field shooting, it's like a really strong flow, and you're interacting with people and actors, and so that's also rehearsals is really nice when you're kind of creating something together. Yeah, and then after the shoot, there is the shooting hangover, when you look at the material and you think, oh my God, this is never going to work.
Right.
Awful. And then I walk for weeks or months before I touch it, and then I start working it, and suddenly it comes alive, and you see that there's much more than you thought there was, and then you get excited, and then comes this kind of rush of editing and creating something again. Then you're kind of rebuilding the castle that before kind of got torn down. And that's also exhilarating, and then you find new ways that you didn't think about, and things come out of the material you didn't think was possible, and and then after that comes the endless polishing of the turd. Trying to
micro edits, frame by frame, grading,
exactly, frame by frame.
Things.
And then once the whole process is done and the film is done, as if I was also the producer, normally I don't manage to send it anywhere, or maybe I make a premiere screening, send it to a couple of festivals, and then after that I'm done. And I tell myself, never to do it again. And,
I'm in awe of filmmakers for that reason. It's such a long, very intensive project. Like creating an album can be like that too, a series of songs, and you've got to collaborate, and you've got to get a band together, and you've got to get a studio. Like there's definitely, can be quite challenging. But when I've worked with filmmakers before, either, making music for them, and then the music doesn't come out for 4 or 5 years later, and I'm always in awe as to how they can hold the tension for that long, like how they can continue to come back to the work and re-inspire themselves with such a long time horizon. Because with music, there's such a quick turnaround if you want to. I can write a song tonight, and then I can go and, I don't know, in COVID times, but I could go, into the park and basically start performing it and get immediate feedback. It's quite instant. So it sounds like such a roller coaster. So I've got lots of questions about it. But maybe we'll start.
Of course, I just want to add that once, if it's a bigger project and the film's starting to get ready, 2-3 years later after that you actually had the idea and inspiration, it's at this time often I'm also so far away from these ideas I initially had. Yeah, so that becomes this. It's not this kind of direct transmission. You have to live with these ideas for a long period of time.
Yeah. And you change as a person, and your concepts change as a person too. So something that feels like a fresh, vibrant idea a couple of years down the track, I'm guessing feels like it's lost a little bit of its sheen, and you have to find your way back into it. Is that kind of the process?
Yeah, I think the exciting thing with the films I've done so far is that at that time when I'm so far away from the story and it's done, I realize, and I see it, together with people, I realize, whoa, this is about something else. I had no idea this film was about that.
Yes.
And most likely it's kind of, I suspect there's some kind of what is called recreation of childhood traumas. This is my, I think what we really need to express are these intense moments in our early life that needs to kind of remanifest themselves for some kind of conclusion or healing. And I think through artists, that's what eventually comes out. And I mean, even if I wrote the film and thought I had an idea what it was, afterwards I realized that actually what I'm trying to recreate is something else. So that's quite fascinating.
Yeah, that's fascinating, and quite a useful tool to have as an artist. Like sometimes I wonder how other people get through their lives without having a process like art or self-expression or whatever to really process either whatever memories or situations or a stress in the moment or something that happened when you were 6. I'm not quite sure how people really process that stuff. I'm guessing they don't.
Well, if they have a good therapist, that's perfect, I think. So sometimes I see artists maybe missing that critical point of getting good therapists. They're getting so involved in their art process and think that's them, and also identify with the suffering person in order to be able to perform. And maybe there wouldn't be any artists if people just get a therapist early on, and people would be happier.
Yeah, potentially.
I don't know. Maybe I take that back.
It's such a deep. Well, the other interesting aspect of what you're talking about is this sort of need to return to it, even though it's can be quite a harrowing process. And then a time comes where a new idea comes up, and it feels so vivid and exciting. In my journey with doing music, like I had to go through that cycle a number of times till I guess there are a few different responses you can have to it, but I eventually just accepted it. Just like succumb to it. And I would really get into music, and then I'd get off it, and then it would just come back like 6 months later, like, oh man, I just want to play guitar, and I'd get into it, and then I would drop it. And it just kept coming back, and I started noticing like, okay, this thing's not going to leave me alone, so I should make friends with it and sort of embrace it and then move forward. But so, and then coming back to that, that roller coaster thing, what do you think it is that either draws you back to doing the work again, or that allows you to hold the tension for so long? And
it's a good question. I mean, I think this exhilarating inspiration, like to be struck by it, that's like a very blissful moment. And it doesn't happen regularly, I think, for people. But once it comes, and you have this idea, which is kind of fueling your life in a way during that period, I think that's a quite special thing. So that's why it happens. This I don't know. I probably, when I was a child, it happened more often. I think that every second day there was something that was so exhilarating and new and crazy, amazing that you just wanted to do. And I think by age it kind of lessened a bit. And yeah, so when it comes, I of course embrace it, and not thinking about what it actually will mean in how my next year will look like because of this moment of ecstasy.
Yeah, yeah. That's how your mind tricks you into it. Because it's interesting when you reflect on how exhilarating it is, actually. You know, like when you do strike on an idea, it really does, it takes over you in a way. Like it becomes a very full body sensory experience. It's like a revelation. A revelation is it's a powerful experience. It's not an everyday experience. And so when it happens, it almost is like you go into some type of trance where you just are compelled to follow it. I hadn't really thought about how strong that feeling is actually.
Yeah, I think for me it's a little bit like that. There is a glimpse into another world opening up. So there's this parallel world which is kind of get shaped more and more, and you start to look into this little hole into the other world, and I get more and more obsessed by this other reality, and somehow want to live in that reality or recreate that reality. And the more I work on it, the more it expands. So it's a little bit like creating dream worlds in a way.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
But
then that you can follow the thing through to the end. Maybe that's just comes more really to the personality type and how obsessive you are as a character. Because I know many people who start projects and then they cannot finish them.
Yeah.
For me, I cannot rest until something is really done. So I have this kind of constant kick in my ass to do it.
Yeah, that's I think it's it has both sides to it, I suppose, because it continues to hound you till you get it done. But I would see that as such a positive aspect, because so much creative work gets abandoned very early on, you know, because that inspiration part is so intoxicating that you have that experience and then whatever, it starts to wear off, and then people go, okay, I'll just go find another substitute kind of invigorating experience. Because
but actually what happens to me,
right,
that there are these amazing ideas that come and I get so enthralled, and the next day I don't even remember them, you know. Or maybe for a couple of days I think, this is what I'm gonna do with my life, this is it. And then the next week it's like, well, actually maybe it wasn't that a good idea. Or that important.
Amazing. So in the collaboration that we did, so we worked on a music video for a song called "That's So Pretty," and I thought it might be interesting to just explore how that went and the process we went through, but also just how you developed the idea, or how the idea came to you, or what kind of process what that looks like, whether it's, I don't know, you do brainstorming, or you just see an image, or there's a reference of something you're already interested in and you can see it work or whatever. And you may be, you know, unconscious of this process, so this will be interesting for both of us. Yeah.
Well, I think first of all, in this period, I had recently moved to our community, or our house. It was a completely new surrounding, like the forest around and the neighborhood and our house. I was very inspired by the actual new locations in my life. So this is also where we shot the video.
Yeah.
So the bedroom in the film is actually my own bedroom.
Right. Cool.
Not looking like that. We had some serious set design going on though.
Yeah.
Teenage girl room, but the bathroom is my daily bathroom, you know. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think then.
And the forest scenes are just nearby outside the house.
Yeah, it's like 100 meters from the house.
Yeah, great. Makes it easy to shoot.
Yeah, it was nice. You know, we were all hanging out at my place, and going out in the forest, the tourists coming back, eating, and yeah. You're right, but then I think also I mean the song itself was a very strong source of inspiration. It had some kind of nostalgic shimmer to it that I wanted to accentuate, and I guess it's like with the parts of a song that you really like. This is what you build the video around to resonate with these parts. So in a way, I guess the music video is also kind of a take on the song, how I see the song, which is maybe not the same thing as how you saw the song when you made it or felt it. But yeah, and then I also recently watched this film, The Killing of a Sacred Deer, by, what is his name? Yorgos something, a great filmmaker, like one of the new author filmmakers. So, and this had also kind of a story about, about a strange love relationship between two teenagers. I don't know if you've seen the film.
Yeah. After you mentioned it, I went and watched it, and it, blew me away.
It's a terrible movie. I felt so bad after watching it.
Yeah, me too. I felt a bit nauseous. I was like, oh my God. But amazing.
One of those films, I think many of his films, I just feel really bad afterwards.
Yeah. I think I ended up watching a couple of his other films too. But the cinematography and the storytelling of them is very unique and interesting, and which is why I think it has such an impression afterwards. You're just like the opposite of what you were saying earlier. You know, you see a film, you're like, I've seen that done. I've seen that done. But he had such an interesting take on it that afterwards it's like, I haven't seen that done.
Definitely, his aesthetics are really inspiring.
Yeah.
So, so the process was, I think we took your song and then we cut together some scenes from that film and sent you over as a kind of mood reference thing to see how you liked it. And then once you greened that concept, we started to write a story around that somehow. Yeah, how did that happen?
Yeah, I can't remember if you already sent a little bit of a brief when you sent that video, but I remember you saying this couple, they go out into the forest and they have this encounter with some supernatural force, and it changes them forever. I can't remember if that was sort of before or that came after, but
yeah, I think somehow we wanted to capture this kind of the feeling of these teenage relationships where you never really can reach what you're feeling. You're having a strong feeling of what this thing would be, but you will never reach it. It's some kind of utopian idea of what the relationship will be, but it never happens. It's like still kind of a dream.
And also in those teenage relationships, it often, well, you know, in my experience, it does feel like something supernatural happens in the relationship if it changes or turns, or I don't know, someone decides they don't like you anymore or whatever. It feels like it's like there's like a break in the timeline of what the expectations are or something. It's like, oh, okay, we're going to keep this relationship is going to do this, and then there's like this snap in the timeline and it just goes to a different timeline. Like, so that's a kind of a little bit of a supernatural thing that happens, comes out of nowhere. Invisible.
And then that was also the idea. And this was also the idea with having the supernatural moment in the video, that this would kind of symbolize that something happens that makes this relationship not being able to stay together anymore. I guess we also base it a lot about how you described your song when we talked about that. Now, this is very far away now, so I haven't closed my memory what you said, but it was something I remember about impossibility or something like this. Yeah,
the song's essentially about some lovers, and there's a moment where one of the lovers realizes this isn't going to work, but the other lover doesn't quite know yet. And I mean, Yeah, you did a beautiful job of it. Like, so an interesting detail that maybe you don't know about the process of sort of making the clip with you was I was making a music video for, I'm not sure if I told you this, I was making a music video for one of the earlier singles, and the process didn't go well. So I was doing it with some close friends of mine who are really amazing filmmakers, and the process just fell off a cliff. And it was very mysterious. That was like a mysterious thing as to why that clip didn't work out. And then so I tried a second version of it, and everything was going great, but then it also didn't work out in the end. And so I was learning a lot about filmmaking because I'm not a filmmaker, you know. I was also learning it's a completely other art form. Like, they're obviously related. Music and film can enhance each other. But so and then I decided to take it all into my own hands and make a music video with my brother and my partner. And so we made a music video, and it worked, and I was quite happy with it. But so one thing I really wanted to explore was to just not really be that involved. And so I thought I want to see if I can find a filmmaker and really just hand basically everything over to them, you know, the concept. But part of that was we had a couple of Skype meetings. I mean, I still got pretty clear on the idea I wanted, and then I tried to communicate it as clearly as I could, but then I had to sort of let go and trust. And that was an interesting process as well. So I don't know how you felt about that, or if that's also pretty common for you, that someone just says, oh, I want this made. Can you go and, you know, figure out how to make it or whatever?
I think, I mean, for me, that's actually the most inspiring situation.
Yeah.
Especially if I have my own artistic drive involved. If it's just a job where I have to produce something, then it can be really nice just to follow orders.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Just do that, and they get happy, and everything is fine, and you just do what you want. That's also kind of a nice way of working. But when it comes to an artistic piece or something that's trying to be a little bit more using your own creativity and inspiration and stuff, then it also becomes a bit more personal. I think then it can be a struggle if the contractor or the client has too much input, and especially when it's about creating something which is a kind of a holistic idea of how to say, yeah, because you kind of, if you're telling a story, trying to kind of make a reality, you're creating a parallel reality, and then you know what elements will serve that reality. But if a client comes in and says, well, I want these kind of clothes in this shot, and I would think, well, but that's actually not supporting the character at all. We need the audience to imagine what kind of character it is in order to make the story work. And the client wants some fancy hipster clothes when the character is, you know, a car mechanic or whatever. Like after we shot your video, or was it before? No, this was after. We had another music video for a German pop band, and they were very, very much wanting their things and not really allowing us to create what we wanted to do. And in the end, it became like a really clash between two different visions, and it didn't work. So in the end, they abandoned the video because they didn't like it. And I would say it's because, you know, they're trying to get their ideas in, and it didn't really match with the whole world I was trying to create. So, So I think that's important for the client to know that there are more levels they might not be aware of that their decision will impact. Yeah. So in the end, the story didn't work in this last video because the client had been removing a lot of elements, which was part of the storytelling, and they didn't. I tried to explain it, but they didn't listen. So at one point you go, yes, okay, let's do what they want. Fuck that. And then it doesn't work. So
that's interesting because neither party is satisfied in that dynamic. But that's definitely a huge lesson that I learned. So it's interesting to hear it reflected back, you know, just your experience as a filmmaker, working with music videos or just any client, I suppose, to just let the artist do the thing they're really good at. Obviously giving parameters and collaborating, but then fulfilling the concept, as it's envisioned. That's great.
Yeah. So I mean, I thought our process was very inspiring and I felt very good with it. It was,
yeah. Me too. It was, for me, it was like a big challenge to just trust in the process but it's one of the reasons. I mean, I checked out your work and there were some aesthetic things that I just felt like, you really know how to capture emotion and mood and very subtle, like storytelling types of things. So I felt like I was in very good hands, that I could just hand it over, and we went back and forth with a few things, but ultimately you went off and made the clip, I think. And then you sent me the first edit, and I made a couple of suggestions, and a few of them you went, yeah, and a few of them you went, no. And I went, okay. I was like, I could insist that you change that, but that was part of the thing of like being more hands off and trusting your choices. Yeah, but it makes it easier when you're working with someone who really knows what they're doing. That's another big lesson I got from it. It's like work with someone who really knows their stuff.
Yeah. But I have to share a funny story from the making of the video, because we had some problem with the casting until in the very last days before shooting. I think the guy in the video, he confirmed just the day before that we had planned the shoot and rented all the equipment and everything. So that was the last minute, because we had another actor which looked very much more like the guy in the Sacred Killing of a Deer.
Ah, right.
But then he got another job which was paid. So then suddenly he jumped off this project.
Yep.
Because this was a low budget project, so no one who helped out was getting paid, basically.
Yep.
So so then we lost him, and then we had like a moment of panic of finding someone else, and then the day before we get this guy, and then he's all up for it, and we do some casting online, and we take him. And then when it comes to the shooting location, I think that's the night before, he's just starting to read, and he says like, but by the way, I don't have to kiss the girl, right? Really disgusts me, the idea of kissing a girl.
Wow. So like we'll have to take that scene out.
Yeah, exactly, because we did have a lot of kissing scenes thought about it.
Oh, really?
For the idea. So we were like, what do we do now? Okay. Luckily, Chiran, who I was directing with, she's an amazing choreographer. That's her main profession. She's a choreographer and performer. So she had a quite intensive hour of somatic work and working with states. So she really got him into this kind of a way of reaching the more lust-filled and empowered visceral moments, and also playing with intimacy and stuff like this. So it really, really worked out thanks to that.
Yeah, because the interactions between them feel very intimate. There's lots of just close, eye gazing and so it's so interesting to hear that as the background. It's a very cool story. Cool. And so do you have any projects at the moment of your own that have gripped your attention, or are you in a restful moment of life?
No, I actually last year I ended up shooting a horror film Also was not really planned in the beginning, but then it all kind of happened, and I was stuck in a big stuck. I was engaged in a big project. and yeah, but then I was so busy with other jobs, I didn't have the time to edit it until the Corona quarantine, which I'm very thankful for.
Yeah.
So now the last months I've been working a lot with the post-production, and yeah, it's like a 15-minute little horror film.
Cool.
Coming out soon. I think this summer it will be ready.
Cool. So not too long. So you're sort of finishing up some of the editing and post-production stuff at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. So that's also a really weird story. I never had an intention to make a film like that. But actually, the idea was that we were a group of friends who were supposed to just improvise with some actor friends and just do something creative together and just have fun. That was the idea. And then the project grew into a mastodon thing, like a really big project with very expensive equipment and like a lot of professional actors. And yeah, it completely changed in the making. And also all my friends I was working with, they were suddenly busy. So then I was doing everything myself. So the idea of this collaborative friend project broke into something different. And yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to seeing it when it's done. And is there anywhere you would direct people to go and check out your work if they like what they're hearing here and just want to see the things that you get up to? Where can they sort of check stuff out?
Well, I would say my webpage, johanplanefeldt.com.
Yep.
And then the other site is holytropic.com.
Yep.
Holytropic.com. This is the director's duo I'm running. Yeah. So this is the duo I'm with Shiran Elizarov. It's embarrassing. My partner in crime, which I also directed the music video for you together with.
Yeah, cool.
Yes, these are our collaborative projects which are there.
Yep, awesome. Yeah, and people should definitely go check them out. I went back to I think it was the Holytropic page just in sort of preparation for this, and there's just so much beautiful stuff there. So people should go spend some time there. So thanks heaps for your time. Thanks for sharing all those stories. Really nice to even get some behind the scenes, that I was completely unaware of. So it's great.
Thank you again for inviting me.
Yeah,
and I'm happy to have done the video for you. It was really fun.
Yeah. I'm very, very happy that I asked you to do it, and that collaboration worked out really beautifully. Yeah.
It was really funny. We have the birthday on the same day, the same year. That's kind of a...
We do.
Yeah, we do.
Did I know that already? No.
I think I wrote you.
Yeah, maybe you did. Yeah, wow. That's really funny.
For a random person from Australia to contact me, that's kind of a
and the same year as well, I think is quite interesting. There you go. Yeah, I actually just realized that we also, I don't know if you know this, but we have the same birthday as slipped my mind. Bob Marley. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Bob Marley is February 6th. So he's Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses.
Nice.
So we're in good company.
Good company, great.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks again. All right, so thank you to Johan for that conversation. It was really great to connect with Johan and rediscover that we have the same birthday on the same year. That was quite fun. I hope you enjoyed that episode. If you did, please give it a like and a thumbs up. Share it on your own social media. Share it with a friend. Write a review. Give it a rating on iTunes or Stitcher. All of those things, they sound like a lot of hard work, but taking a couple of seconds to do that really helps the podcast reach new listeners and music lovers. So I would really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And if you'd like to get a free download of That's So Pretty and a couple of other songs, you can go to mijobiscan.com/free music and you'll get 3 of my best songs sent to your email. If you'd like to get a signed, personalized, limited edition CD sent to you anywhere in the world, you can head to mijobiscan.com/GMCD. That stands for Golden Moment CD. And that also comes with a download of the digital album and artwork and lyric booklet. So yeah, go and check that out. Thanks again for listening. Really appreciate you taking the time. I hope it was enjoyable. Look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Remember, stay golden, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.